Welcome back to another Rogue Thursday. If you're looking for a deck that can straight up win games as early as turn 2, then you need to see this Mega Lopunny Dusknoir deck. Now, and here's the list that I've been running, and the game plan is very simple. You get into Mega Lopunny as fast as possible, then you use Dusclops and Dusknoir along with your Mega Lopunny to secure key knockouts and in the game before your opponent can even stabilize. Now, and I chose not to run Pidgeot EX in this list, because it takes up too much space, and with Watchtower still being as popular as it is, it often becomes more of a liability instead of an advantage. Now, and as for my ace spec, I am choosing to run Scoop Up Cyclone, and this card is absolutely insane in this deck. If you have a second Buneary on the bench, you can scoop up your active Mega Lopunny, reuse everything, the energy and the Mega Lopunny, and immediately threaten another 230 damage swing that same turn. Now, and if you want to try this list out for yourself, the full deck list is down in the description below. With that said, let's jump straight into the games. Alright, so the first game up for you guys is going to be a meta matchup, and this is going to be against a deck that is extremely popular, Dragapult Dusknoir. We get to go first. That's generally what you want to do with the deck, and we do get that Ditto into the active so we can actually get down a Kang. That way then we can draw 2 extra cards, and what great 2 extra cards those were. Now we are completely set up on our board. We have the Latias, and here I go for a little bit of a strange play. I throw up the Klefki, and that does turn off my Latias and the Kangaskhan, which isn't that great, but I do have an Iono to be able to draw a couple extra cards, and that's what I'm planning on doing next turn. And I know that this is most likely the Dragapult, so I was trying to play around a Latias play. That way then they can't just hit me with a Itchy Pollen, which is generally the play that they try to go for. Here, our opponent is setting up for that exact play, but now they're going to have to use an energy instead of their Latias if they want to actually use their Budew to item lock us for a turn. The main reason I go for this play as well is because I want to try to use Rare Candy next turn if I can get into a Dusknoir. That way then we can start popping some of their Dreepies, but we top deck into a Jamming Tower, which just isn't good in this matchup, so I am just going to fire off this Iono. We actually find our combo here, but we need another turn to be able to do so. So what I can do is I could go for this Rare Candy into a Dusknoir. That way then we have that set up for a following turn. And then next turn we'll actually be able to use a Hilda to find our Mega Lopunny. We already have a Jet Energy, but we can grab a second one, which is fine. And that means that we can actually do another 230 swing on the following turn after that as well. Now in here we do just pass it back. They are going to get into their Dreepies now, so they will be able to start seeing some extra cards. I don't like having to give them an extra turn here before taking any knockouts, but at the same time, we are completely set up, and the more setup that we can get for taking multiple knockouts in a single turn is very important in this matchup. Now in here, they are forced to use a Boss's Orders, just so that way then they can get the free retreat from their Latias. And that does let them be able to attach for turn to their Dracloak as well, which is very important. They will be able to hit us with that Itchy Pollen, item locking us this turn, but that is completely fine with me. We top deck into another copy of Jet Energy, but because they did give us the free retreat, we're able to just go into a retreat into the Kang, draw 2 extra cards before firing off this Hilda. This is going to be able to get us the Lopunny plus another copy of Jet Energy. We have all 4 in our hand now. That isn't the greatest, but Mist Energy isn't very useful in this matchup. Here we are going to be popping our Dusknoir, getting rid of their Dracloak in the bench, which is very important here because they only had a single Dracloak and they were only building up a single one right there. They do have double Dreepy though, so they can still be able to set up another Dracloak next turn, and that is something that we will have to worry about going forward. Now in here, they are just going to throw up that Latias. They can easily use another Buddy-Buddy Poffin if they have it, get down another Budew. That's generally what they try to do, is go through at least 2 Budews here. But instead, they are going to use that Night Stretcher, be able to get back that Dracloak, get that down to be able to see 2 extra cards. This way they can pick one of those, and then they are going to fire off an Ultra Ball. This is most likely going to get them another copy of Dracloak. That way then they have double Dracloak down. Here they are using their second Dracloak to be able to look at 2 extra cards, and then they are going to play a supporter that I wasn't expecting them to play, which is Crispin. So we can tell that they're on a more basic energy heavy variant rather than relying on that luminous energy. So if we can top deck into a rare candy here, then we can actually get rid of that Dracloak, and that would be a massive play again. Here we are able to use a Jet Energy onto our Kang, that way then we can reset our Mega Lopunny, try to draw into that rare candy. We still don't find it, so what I am going to do is fire off this Buddy-Buddy Poffin, get down another copy of Duskull, and see how many copies of rare candy I have left, and exactly what Pokemon I have left as well, because Ursaluna could matter in this matchup now too. Here we are just going to debate about using the Lillie's Determination. I decide against it. I can just use a Ultra Ball here, get rid of one of the supporters, plus the Buddy-Buddy Poffin that we don't need anymore, and that will get us into a Dusclops, guaranteeing that there is a chance that we can actually just win the game next turn, potentially, seeing as we will be able to take 2 prizes this turn onto their Latias. Here we are just going to retreat for free the Kang into the Mega Lopunny and take the knockout now that we got the Dusclops down. This is going to give us 2 extra prizes. They are running multiple copies of Iono, so that is something that we have to worry about as well. They could just hit us with a Iono, putting us down to 2, but we do have Kang to be able to draw 2 extra cards next turn as well, so we're not too worried about that. They still need to take 5 prizes as well. Here they have the rare candy into the Dusknoir, and now if they can get into a Dragapult, they can actually take 3 prizes by knocking out our Mega Lopunny. They will be putting us down to a single prize, which means that this Ultra Ball plus a Boss's Orders could actually just win me the game. Now here we do get 1 prize, and it is a Boss's Orders, so that is massive. If they don't have the Iono to disrupt our hand and put us down to 1 now, then we can easily just win the game next turn. Here they are going to go into that Dragapult. They have 1 card left in hand, and it's not the Iono, so they are forced to just take a knockout onto our Mega Lopunny. They also take a knockout on that Duskull as well, taking 4 prizes this turn because they knocked out a Mega Pokemon. Now we are just going to throw up the Kang. Here we could actually just draw a couple extra cards, but we do have the Ultra Ball. So we are going to just fire off that Ultra Ball, get rid of the Jamming Tower, get rid of the Stretcher as well. This gets us into the Ursaluna. We are going to be able to put that down. We can use a Jet Energy as well. We don't really need it at this point. And then we are going to fire off that Boss's Orders, pulling up their Dracloak and taking a knockout for game. Alright, so for the second game I got for you guys, it is against a deck that came out in Ascended Heroes, and that is the Mega Dragonite. And this is going to be one of our harder matchups going forward, especially post-rotation, because Mega Dragonite just has the numbers that we really don't want our opponents to have. Their attack does 330 damage, which is exactly enough to take out our Mega Lopunny in a single hit, and their HP is at 370 HP, which means that a Dusknoir plus our 230 swing from a Lopunny isn't enough to take the knockout. We are 10 damage short. Now in here, we do at least have a Klefki, so we are turning off their Mega Kang. That is a solid thing for us, but we are now forced into Stadium Bumping, which is nice, and we do get down a copy of Mega Lopunny before firing off this Lillie's Determination. This finds us a much better hand. We can actually get double Duskull down here, and then we can get down a Kang of our own if we want. We aren't able to attack this turn, but we have everything that we need for a following turn. With the way that their board is set up, and then putting down a Dragonair right here, they will be able to get down another copy of Dragonair as well because they have a energy attached to that first one. So we know that they have a high chance of being able to get into a Dragonite on their next turn. So what we're hoping for is, since we already have 1 rare candy and we have 3 copies of Dusknoir in hand, all we need to do is see 1 more copy of rare candy, and then we can actually get rid of both of their copies of Dragonair, and that would be a huge tempo swing in our favor. Unfortunately for us, they do have another copy of Battle Cage, and they get that down, so all we have left is 1 singular copy of Jamming Tower to actually give us a way of winning this game. And we still need to see a bunch of cards in a specific order in order to do that. Now here we do top deck into a very good supporter that we can use on a following turn, but this turn we are going to be forced into using Hilda. This way we can get a Jet Energy so we can finally start swinging, and we are going to grab that Dusclops as well. It could matter in the future, but we do have the Rare Candy into the Dusknoir. We are going to be able to use that Jet Energy, bring up the Mega Lopunny, pop the Dusknoir onto the Kang. This is going to get us 3 prizes. We do have to give up a prize in the process, but there is still at least one way that we can actually win this game next turn. So while we are taking 3 prizes here, we could potentially take a knockout on a Dragonite, and this is me just talking with hindsight. During the game, I may or may not have seen the other paths or this path that could actually win me the game. Now in here, our opponent is going to be able to fire off both of these copies of Dragonairs. This is going to get them 2 copies of Dragonite. That way then they can get both of those down. One of the big issues that Mega Lopunny has is that it only does 230 damage. That's one of the reasons why we are running the copy of Ursaluna. Now in here, they do attach a Water Energy for turn. They are missing a single attach. They don't have any energy in the discard, but they do have a copy of Crispin, so they will be able to search out another copy of Water Energy for the following turn on their other copy of Dragonite, and they are able to power up this specific Dragonite so they can take the 3 prize knockout onto our Mega Lopunny. Now in here, they are going to take a little bit of time before firing off this copy of Ultra Ball, most likely getting a Fez here, that way then they can see a couple extra cards, and I was correct, they do get a Fez. So they are going to put down that Fez, that's going to draw them 3 extra cards, they're back up to 9 cards left in hand, and then they are going to use that Sky Transport just to freely retreat, even though Budew has free retreat. This way they can actually just swing, take the knockout. They do have to discard both of the Lightning Energy, but they have the Electrites on their bench, so they're able to power up their other copy of Dragonite and be able to also put a energy onto this other Dragonite. And here, I actually make a game-losing mistake, and that is what I do this turn. So I do put down the Dusknoir, that was correct, but here I'm so focused in on trying to get another Mega Lopunny set up and potentially using that to be able to win the game that I completely forgot about Ursaluna swinging for more than 230 damage. So what I do here is I actually make the mistake of using that Mega Kangaskhan and using its ability to see 2 more cards. I should have used Codebreaking before I use the Kangaskhan, because now I do see that the Ursaluna is in the deck, and I could have actually just grabbed the Ursaluna, and then I had the Jet Energy plus the Dusknoir, and that would have actually been just enough to be able to knock out the Dragonite for game. Now that I've gone through my turn like this, there isn't really a way to win the game anymore, because we are going to be forced to use this Klefki to throw it up. That way then they're only taking a single prize here, but that does turn off our Dusknoir from ever being able to pop, otherwise we just lose the game. This is one of the prime examples of why I like showing my losses in these videos, so that way then you can learn not to make these game-losing mistakes like I do. And this is a pretty common mistake that you're going to come across potentially when you are learning this deck, is there are simple plays that you could go for to actually win the game, but because the deck does have you going through a whole bunch of hoops using Dusknoirs along with your Lopunny and then doing all the switching, simple plays like popping Dusknoir and getting a Ursaluna can easily be lost. Now in here, our opponent is going into their other copy of Dragonite. They do have that powered up, and they are going to use their other copy of Electrite. This is going to put a energy onto their backup Dragonite that has 10 damage on it, but the game is pretty much over at this point. Now they can just swing right here and take a knockout on the Klefki, but if they have a copy of Boss's Orders, they could just boss up our Mega Kangaskhan and actually take the knockout on that for game as well. Now in here, they do just have a copy of Carmine. This is going to be able to draw them 5 new cards, and more importantly, they just gave up the rest of the cards in their hand. They realize that the game is pretty much over at this point. Now we are going to throw up our Mega Kangaskhan again, just so we can draw 2 extra cards here. We already know what the top 2 cards of our deck are, which is this Hilda, plus we have a Fez up there. So we can pop the Mega Kangaskhan's ability first. This is going to be able to get us into the other card that we set up onto the top, plus one more, and it is that Fez plus that Jet Energy. So now we can use Fez, see 3 more cards, see if we find a way into the Ursaluna. We don't find it, and if we did find the Ursaluna, then there is a potential play with a Jamming Tower as well that we could actually be able to put the game into sudden death, and in that case we actually still could have won, but we don't find that combo that we need, so we are just going to do another swing with Mega Lopunny. This is just doing 230 damage. They're able to easily knock it out next turn using their backup Dragonite, so we are going to let them just do their knockout this turn. Here they are going to attach another Lightning Energy, and then using the Sky Transport ability from their Dragonite, they will be able to throw up their fresh Dragonite. They will also just attach their Ace Spec just to do a little extra damage, and that does 380 damage, winning them the game. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.